Uh,
Hello, hello. Good evening.
Hey, hi,
Good
good evening,
evening.
everyone.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Good evening,
Adarsh.
Sika. Good evening, Divjot.
Yeah, how are you guys? मैंने बहुत टाइम से मीटिंग अटेंडिंग की है कैसे हो सब?
Never been better, Divjot. We are very good.
नाइस नाइस. मैं नहीं आ रही हूँ तो आदर्श को तो अच्छा लगेगा ही. Great. How have you been? Shikha has left.
Oh, you are the sergeant at arms today.
Yes, Sergeant at Arms.
Shit.
Back on duty. Hi Karthik, कैसे चल रहा है Toastmasters?
Hi, Divjot. अब बहुत बढ़िया चल रहा है.
Karthik, where do you live? In nearby Delhi or Karnal?
Karnal, 2 hours from Delhi.
So if we had someday offline meeting, will you come or it will be difficult?
He'll come.
Will come, na?
He'll come.
Okay, great.
Others will call.
I'll try my most to come, but let us see.
Others will give you the dropback service if needed. Pickup service as well.
Pickup service as
Yes.
well.
But you all must be living in Delhi, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Hopefully.
Not me, and they are.
Not Divjot and Aditi.
I heard that Divjot lives in nearby Puneet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shahjahanpur.
And that's why they do offline meetings and then send pictures to me. Okay,
No, we
Shikha,
take you on video call as well. You don't attend that.
yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay, Shikha is here. Shikha, hi. Shikha, can you please switch on your video? Am I audible to you? I don't know. Okay, we have another guest joining in with us. Okay, we have someone, Ankita.
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Please switch on your camera.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it was on. It's just yeah. Hi.
You.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. So, how has been your day till now? Just random.
Day's been
Summary.
good work, productive day. So yeah, it's been good. And it's my first meeting today. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks to Manya who's been reminding me. I couldn't join last 2 times.
President at work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy the meeting today. And what is your expectation? You know, our theme is photography. Do you like photography or whatever? Have you a little bit?
iPhone photography, yes, I do. I'm not into DSLRs.
We have iPhone 1.
Yeah.
Mobile phone photography. We all are photographers nowadays. Phone low and just click the pictures. Okay, you know, we had a going on competition in our group. Like this was a photography week, so we had to just post, and different day has different themes. So we had to post. Yeah, that's why you can check it on our social media page. We had our winners and all that. You can check that. It was fun.
Nice.
Okay, so we have Nishta joining in. We have Ishan. Hi, Ishan. Nishta, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ishan?
I'm good as well.
Hi, Nishtha. Yeah.
Hi.
Ishan, can you please also turn on your camera?
Just a minute, please.
Okay, no problem. Nishtha's audio video is perfectly fine, and we have Rajiv sir. Hi, Rajiv sir. Can you please once unmute yourself? Yeah, you are audible. Yeah, you are audible and visible. Perfect. Next, we have
Where's the background?
which background?
It will be a surprise for you, Divjot, then.
Okay. I am not aware of anything like that. Yeah, we have Shikha on camera as well. Hi, welcome.
Hey, hi, thank you. So I'm really excited to be part of this. This is my first session. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see how it goes.
Sure, you're gonna love it. We have our team mod Manya, our president of the club, and yeah, as always, she's gonna rock it. We have Harshita with us. Hi, Harshita. Good evening.
Hey, hi Divjot.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm also good. Yeah, so I have done your audio and video check. Perfect. Okay. Aditi, your audio check is, I guess it's done. You are audible. But yeah, how are you handling your situation there in Nasik?
I am almost settled now. So got my house all settled and luggage all unpacked. And soon waiting to pack it again and come to Delhi.
It's been not even a week she has been there and she's waiting to come back already. Wow.
Yeah, I started the
Where are you,
countdown.
Where
Yes,
are
sir.
you?
Vineyard.
Currently I'm in Nasik. Vineyards. Vineyards.
I think I missed it. Where did you say where you are?
I'm currently in Nasik for a month, Maharashtra. Yeah.
By the way, that's my favorite character, Shinchan.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm wearing
Oh,
it.
not-
At least I can show something I've done for photography day.
Nice. So we have our guests, we have the role players. Now I think we can start the meeting. Kartike joined us. Hi Kartike. Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Okay, so can you please come on video?
Yeah, the video is just loading. I turned it on.
I'm sorry, you were not clearly audible. Can you please check your audio system once? I think Kartike has been there before. I think, I'm not sure. But yeah. Meanwhile, we can start the meeting until Kartike joins. Okay, so let's go. Very good evening once again to all the guests and the Toastmasters present here. I am Jyot and I welcome you all to the 273rd meeting of Toastmasters Club of Speaking and Leadership. Okay, so you all are now inside the code of conduct of a Toastmasters meeting, and as such, a few rules apply to you. Rule number 1, please ensure you are on mute if you are not speaking. Rule number 2, please refrain from any behavior that might distract a person while speaking unless the person specifically asks you to do so. Rule number 3, if you are going to talk about religion, politics, or sex, you need to do it in such a manner that it does not offend anyone. Rule number 4, this being an online meeting, please focus on the speaker and please try to keep your videos on throughout the meeting to make the meeting more lively. I am now going to recite the Toastmasters Club mission statement. We provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. Okay, so to take the meeting forward, I would now like to hand over the stage to the presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Manya Jaisinghani. Can we have a huge round of applause?
Yay.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Divjot. Good evening, everyone. Can I have everyone on camera, please? Because it's good to see everyone on the World Photography Day, at least on screens, so that we can have good photographs of you displayed on screen. At least for once, Ishan, Tanvi, Sarita, Ankita. It would be good to engage in the beginning and set the tone. Great. So good evening once again. And today we're having two important events lined up for the day. Can anyone guess what's going to be there for the first? Any guesses?
We're gonna
Yeah,
celebrate the photography day, and then we have a speaker today who's going to tell us
Yes.
about the evaluation.
Correct. So Toastmaster Harshita has spilled the beans. Firstly, we are going to have a teamwork session, a brief one in which we will be celebrating the World Photography Day, in which I, as the team mod, will set the tone and share with you 3 tips from my personal experience by which you can set the right tone and make sure that you get good clicks on the World Photography Day. And secondly, we have invited distinguished Toastmaster Anusha Khurana to take the session on speech evaluation. But before we proceed to all those serious materialistic agendas for the day, we have a number of guests in the meeting. So let's start with a quick round of guest introduction. So let me start with guest Ankita. So Ankita, you have to share what's your we already know your name, but what do you do and how did you get to know about Toastmasters? These 2 things.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I am Ankita. I am a resident of Delhi. And how I got to know of Toastmaster is I was taking a career coaching for last couple of months, and my coach suggested to like in case basically in terms of upskilling, in terms of I've been working in an organization for last 6 years, so in case of meeting new, like having new conversations, uh, you know uh, and having new topics to discuss, Toastmaster is a good way, so that's why I'm trying it out. What I do is I work in the fashion and lifestyle space. I work with a brand called Good Earth, and I work in the business vertical there. And yeah, I mean, I've been in this industry for last 11, 12 years now. So that's about me.
Welcome aboard, Ankita. And I can see that you are a very fashionista yourself because I can see the Merlin Monroe's pic hanging there behind on the wall. So I completely agree and abide by your words. And welcome to the club. I hope you have a good time ahead with us. Thank you for joining. All right. So next we have guest Shikha. Hi, Shikha. So please share your introduction, like what you do and how did you get to know about Toastmasters?
Yeah, so this is Shikha Mascara, that's full name. So I am a chartered accountant by profession. How I got to know about Toastmaster is through Facebook. So I was looking forward to join something. I just joined my organization post my maternity break, and what I found that 6 months break definitely impact you a lot, as you don't get an opportunity to communicate to people during that break. So that was one of the reason I wanted to brush up my skills and to be back. Yeah, that
Great.
was so. Chartered accountant with around 13 years of experience. I work in a medical equipment company, so finance domain. Yeah, this is how you can describe me professionally.
Great. Welcome, Shikha.
Thank you.
So you are a new mom in the house then.
Yes, I'm a new mom in the house, and you can hear the background voice of my baby crying all over.
Oh,
So, but still,
okay, so yeah, I can clearly hear the crying sound. But
yeah.
I applaud your efforts to attend the meeting, manage work, and take care of baby. So mothers are always multitasking. Kudos to you
Yeah,
for your efforts.
thank
Thank you
you.
for joining. Okay, so we have next in the room, we have guest Kartike. Hi Kartike, would you mind opening your camera and sharing your introduction? Glad to have you back. Your introduction, sir. A brief
Okay,
introduction. Before you become a TMSLN, you'll always have to share an introduction.
I'm a second year student in MSIT. I live in Delhi only, and I've successfully managed to complete my first year of BTech without opening my books. With just a laptop and my phone, I've completed my first year of my BTech.
Okay.
Along with meeting with my friends. So that's what's going on nowadays, everything online. So this is a great platform to interact with new people.
Indeed. So welcome, Kartike. And as far as you're saying you're completing your course without opening a book, I think many of us silently sail in the same boat because of the online influence taking us down. All right. So I think that that's all the number of guests we are having in the room. So before I go into the meeting, let me explain you the structure of the meeting for the benefit of the guests. So a typical Toastmaster session is divided into 3 sections. The first section is the Toastmaster of the Day section, in which the members who have prepared the speeches beforehand come and share their presentation. It is followed by the table topic section, which will be headed by Toastmaster Kartik Patra. In this is an extempore speaking section wherein guests as well as the members without a role get an opportunity to try their impromptu speaking skills. After the TDM, we have the general evaluation section in which the speakers as well as the auxiliary role players will be introduced in a while are evaluated by a set of evaluators. And in this format, each and every one of us who is sitting in the room will get a feedback to take back home and improve. And in addition to that, we are having a special segment on evaluation. So evaluation heavy meeting will be there today. So before our trainer joins in for the day, let's quickly proceed with the agenda so that we can fruitfully enjoy her session and take the nuggets of wisdom from the veteran who is going to come in the room soon. So before we progress further, it's time to call upon stage the auxiliary role players of the day. And in the lead, who do you guess? Like, I need to ask people, like, who do you think we call the first in the auxiliary role players list? Any guesses? Who do we call first?
Timer.
Yes. So before anything, before grammar, our counter, it's always the time which is essential, and hence to lay down the timing rules for the entire meeting today, we have the timer for the day, Toastmaster Tanvi Narang as the timer. So over to you, Tanvi, to lay down the rules.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manya. So a very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and guests. So as Manya mentioned, I am the timer of the day, which means I will be responsible to keep track of time of all the speakers today. So for the guidelines, let me quickly share my screen, and I hope each one of you can see it clearly. So talking about the type of speakers that we're going to have today. First, starting with our prepared speeches, which is going to be 2 for today. So each of the speaker will be allotted a time of 5 to 7 minutes. I would be showcasing a green card at the end of 5th minute, a yellow card at the end of 6th minute, and a red card at the end of the 7th minute. Important thing to note, a grace period of 30 seconds will be given on either side. Moving to our speech evaluators, they will be given a time of 2 to 3 minutes. I would be showcasing again a green card at the end of 2 minutes, a yellow card at the end of 2 minutes 30 seconds, and a red card at the end of 3 minutes. Again, a grace period of 30 seconds on either side will be given. Moving to our table topic speakers, you will be given a time of 1 to 2 minutes. Now, green card at the end of 1 minute will be shown, yellow card at the end of 1 minute 30 seconds, and red card at the end of 2 minutes. Now, important thing to note is the grace period, which will be 30 seconds only on the plus side. Sorry, there's an error on the presentation here, but it will be only on the plus side. Auxiliary role players, you would be given a time of 1 to 2 minutes again. Same as of table topic speakers, green card would be showcased at the end of 1 minute, yellow card at the end of 1 minute 30 seconds, and red card at the end of 2 minutes. Again, 30 seconds would be only given on the upper side. Now, an important thing to note, as you could see at the bottom, any speaker who finishes before or after the grace period will not be considered for the awards. Now, if you're wondering how these cards look like, so here's a demo for you. This is how a green card look like that I will be showcasing at the respective time. This is how the yellow card looks like, and last is the red card. So with this, I do come to the end, and I wish the speakers all the very best. And let me pass the ball back to the Toastmaster of the day, Manya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tanvi, for clearly laying down the rules for timings. Next, we have the R counter for the day, Toastmaster Ishan. So over to you, Ishan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Manya. Good evening, everyone. I will be the R counter for the day. So I'm responsible to make the note of the unrequired pauses, filler words like you know, I mean, well, repetition joiners like and, so, and also unintentional sounds like ahs and ums and stuff like that, which will be used by speakers and role players and everyone involved. And I will submit my report at the end of the meeting when called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster Manya.
Thank you so much, Ishan. And now we have the tag teams G, which is left in the loop, and that is the grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Nishtha. So, Nishtha, over to you to introduce the word of the day and introduce the grammatical legislations we follow in the class.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manya. Good evening, everyone. I am the grammarian of the day, and as the grammarian, my responsibility is to track down the good usage as well as the bad usage of English language. I will also be noting down the pronunciation errors and grammatical errors made by the role players and the speakers. Now, I will be presenting the word of the day and idiom of the day. So, word of the day, as you can see on the screen, is jovial, meaning happy and friendly. It is used for a person. And some of the synonyms are cheerful, happy, jolly, amiable, or outgoing. You can either use the synonyms or the word itself. Some of the examples are she had no idea what made him angry 1 minute and jovial the next. Or you can use it in the meeting as Toastmaster, insert some name, is a jovial person with a philosophical bent of mind. Or you can add something from your side about that person. Next, we have the idiom of the day, which is on the ball, meaning attentive and doing the good job. Some of the examples are her teacher is really on the ball, making sure that all of the students in the class are advancing. Or you can use it like Toastmaster, you can insert a name, was on the ball while delivering her speech. You can use it and mold it in your own way. And I request you all to show a thumbs up whenever someone uses the word of the day or idiom of the day to encourage that person. And I will also be keeping a track on word of the day and idiom of the day, how many times they are used. Furthermore, usage of any other language except English language should be avoided. If it is really necessary, just translate the respective word or sentence into English language. I'll submit my report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Nishtha. I must say that you have been on the ball with making the MOMs as well as the club magazine. I think that your jovial personality has been well enunciated with the help of the magazine which you have put forth in the club. All right. So with this, we have the last auxiliary role player in the loop for the day, and that's Toastmaster Sarita Singh, who is going to be there as the half master. So over to you, Sarita, for laying down your role introduction.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manya. Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. I am the Heart Master of the day. My role is to be active listener for the meeting. I'll be carefully listening all the speeches in the meeting and expect the same from audience. I shall make note of series of questions from all speeches and ask them during my report in the general evaluation. So I wish all the best to everyone to be on the ball and for active listening and focused listening. As they say, the more you listen, the better you get. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Manya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sarita. And now I think it's the stage which is back to me, and we have to proceed with the first speech of the day. But before we go into that segment, let's include the theme of the day into the meeting and have some fun. So, guys, turn on your camera and let me know who all here are passionate about photography. Anyone here passionate photographer, whether it is DSLR, camera photographer, hobby photographer, the one who shoots only food, travel, just speak up. How many of you are? Okay, can I have a raise of hand? Okay, Shan is raising hand. So Shan, what kind of photography do you prefer? Is there any specific genre?
It's quite casual actually.
Okay, casual. Anyone else with a specific? Okay, Karthik is there. Yes, Karthik.
I'm a world-class photographer. I bought a camera 2 years ago and I have used it 10 times till now.
That's great. Using 10 times and buying a DSLR. Great. All right. So even though if you are a casual photographer or a very niche specific photographer, I have some tips which can be used across all the genres, which I have prepared from my personal experience. So let me share my screen and take you through a walk through the first tip which I have in store. So is my screen visible? Can someone confirm with a thumbs up or shout out aloud?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, just a moment. I'll share it again. Is it now visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, great. Great. So the first one is that we should always follow the golden points. So in our cameras give us this option of capturing via grids. So it's there in the square, portrait, and other more options. So you should always try to go with that square photography and choose these golden points. So why to choose golden points? Because if you see this picture, this bird sitting in this corner is looking more attractive had it been there in the center. Because then your attention gets divided in across all the areas. But now, when it's in the corner, you're getting focused on that one small object. Now, for example, this tomato. All of these tomatoes are there in one corner, touching either of these four golden points, which are essential for photography. So either you choose the bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. It's your call because it's always the corners which make the most impact. So instead of just asking people, ki, I'm clicking a photograph, please come in the center, we should always say, ki, choose a good angle, stand in the corner, focus, and then capture the figure on the left or on the right so that there is a complete breathing space which makes your object stand out. So, got it? So, four golden points, and make sure you touch either at least one of them. Great. So, with this tip, I think that we have two more tips to go up with. But before that, it's time to call upon stage the first speaker for the day. So, okay. So, Kumar Jay has something to say. Jay, do you wish to add something? I see your raise of hand. Guess Jay Kumar, do you have something to say? Okay, I think that's been my mistake. All right, so before we call upon stage the first speaker, which is Toastmaster Adarsh, it's time to call upon stage his speech evaluator, Toastmaster Simran. So, Toastmaster Simran, please lay down the speech objectives for Toastmaster Adarsh's speech.
Yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Manya. And good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and Manya guest. I am Simran, and today I'm going to evaluate Adarsh's speech, where he is going to deliver his level 2 and project 1 from leadership development. And his objective of his speech is to observe his time management pattern. And today I'm going to focus on his vocal variety, comfort level, clarity, gesture, eye contact, and interest. With this, I would like to best of luck with the Toastmaster Adarsh, and now hand over the stage to Toastmaster Manya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Simran. So it's time to call upon stage the first speaker for the day, Toastmaster Adarsh, who is a fellow member of Formidable 5, which is headed by me as a mentor. So let's see how we are going to perform because I am there, Adarsh, to back you up with. So, Toastmaster Adarsh, impact of capitalism on society. Impact of capitalism on society, Toastmaster Adarsh.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Manya. Let me ask you a question first. If you own a company, will you pay your employees on the basis of monthly wages agreed between you and them initially, or will you make them a part of profit sharing model? Means whatever the profit company earns, you divide them equally. Raise your hand if you think you will give monthly wages to your employees. Or I won't know, no profit sharing. Okay, so you all are okay. Timer, Tanvi, and Yashika. Okay, two of them will be one monthly wages, and other one are sharing the profit. So the one who has raised their hand are the capitalist, and the everyone are socialist. Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and dear guest. Today I'll talk about capitalism and its impact on society. What is capitalism? It is defined as an economic system in which countries, trade, industry, and profits are controlled by private companies instead of by the people whose power, instead of by the people whose time and labor power, instead of by the people whose time and labor powers those companies. Where did capitalism come from? The origin of capitalism is complicated and stretch back to the 16th century, when the British systems of power largely collapsed after the Black Death, a deadly plague that killed off up to 60% of Europe's entire population. A newly formed class of merchant began to trade with foreign country, which leads to the rise of capitalism. Before capitalism, we have feudalism. Feudalism was an hierarchical system, often seen as oppressive, that kept poor people bonded to their master's land, which they farmed in exchange for a place to live and military protection. What does it mean to be a capitalist? Individual capitalists are typically wealthy people who have large amount of wealth, who have large amount of capital invested in business, and who benefit from the system of capitalism by making increased profits and thereby adding to their wealth. How does capitalism impact people? The kind of capitalism impact the kind of impact that capitalism has on our life depends on whether you are a worker or a boss. For someone who owns a company and employs other workers, capitalism may make sense. The more profits your company brings in, the more resources you have to share with your workers, which theoretically improves the standard of living. It's all based on the principle of supply and demand. And in capitalism, consumption is king. The problem is that many capitalist bosses aren't great at sharing the wealth, which is why one of the major critics of capitalism is that it is a huge driver of inequality, both social and economic. The capitalism the capital capitalism takes the position that greed is good, which its supporter says is a positive thing. Greed derives Greed drives profits, and profits derive innovation and product development, which means there are more choices available for those who can afford them. People who opposes capitalism says that it is by nature exploitative, and leads to a brutally divided society that tramples the working class in favor of fattening the rich wallets. Then why do people support capitalism? Capitalism encourages that the competition between the companies benefits consumer by making products more affordable, and that capitalism dog eat dog atmosphere encourages people to work harder to achieve their dreams. Why do people oppose capitalism then? Anti-capitalists view capitalism as an inhumane, anti-democratic, unsustainable, and deeply exploitative system. They see it as inherently at odds with democracy because of how capitalist bosses hold power over workers in the workplace, and the fact that the more capital one accrues, the more power they have. What is the alternative of capitalism then? There is one alternative of capitalism, which is called socialism. The goal of socialism is an egalitarian society run by a democratically elected representative for the benefit of all. In a capitalist country, the focus is on profits over anything else. In a socialist country, the public is seen to be more important. Social welfare is a major priority. But we humans exploiting both the ideologies for our selfish deeds. India till 1991 was a socialist country. But after that, we are mixed economy, as we have taken the good from both the ideologies, but we are slowly and gradually moving towards the capitalist country. As Indian government introduced fleet of private trains like Tejas, sale of PSUs, BSNL, MTNL, privatization of public sector bank, government is also in discussion to sell Air India, all of which once were part of socialist ideology, but because of inefficiency and huge debt, we are turning towards the private players to operate them. It reminds me of the story about two poles who met one another, and one pole said to other, "Tell me, do you know the difference between capitalism and socialism?" The other pole says, "No, I don't know the difference." The other pole says, "Well, under capitalism, men exploits men, and under socialism, it is vice versa." There is no black and white in this era of world. It's a gray part on which we have to tread, in which we have to tread upon, and that too carefully. In conclusion, I want to say that there are some positive impact of capitalism in our society, like the growth of our economy. Standard of living has been increased. People have more options. Innovation and competition between companies are healthy. But with that being said, there are few negatives of capitalism. The richest 10% of Indians hold owned 80.7% of wealth as per the data of research done in 2019. It's not socialism or nor capitalism that will reduce the gap. Moralism should prevail in order to achieve the ideal society. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Manya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Adarsh. It felt as if I was sitting in my economics class and listening to that lecture on what is the best for a society in this today's, All right. So before we proceed with the next speaker in the loop, let's proceed with our next two hot tips, which can make your photography from good to better to best. All right. Let me share my screen and show you that. Yes, just a moment. So is my screen visible now? If anyone can confirm this? Great. So firstly, so this picture, I would like to boast myself. I captured this picture recently. I traveled to Uttarakhand, and there I got to capture this picture on the mountainside. So these are the daisies which are there standing against the beautiful winds and sky. So changing the angle. So most of the times when we are there traveling or anywhere, wherever we just want to grab a picture, what we do, we just pick up our phone, click it, ki bas ruk jao, khade ho jao, and then we just click a picture and keep it aside. So we click a picture to keep a record, but not a memory. So how can you make your picture seem memorable so that you can actually travel back in time and relive those real memories? So firstly, changing the angle. So changing the angle means that, just a moment, like you do not just have to capture everything from the top or on the right. Just look into the picture and see from which angle the picture can actually come to life. So this leaf looks a bit dry and just okayish if you capture from top. But if you change the angle and capture it from the golden point of right angle in the bottom, it just gives a new picture altogether. Like look at this picture. So the photographer has actually made the effort to lie on the ground and capture these trees standing tall. So that's the impact even a normal camera can do to your pictures. And one last tip which you can capture for the day is keep a plain background. So whenever we go, we just go out and quickly click a picture before the object goes away. But the point is that we need to focus on the object, which is the focus of our theme, and then discard away the background that's needed. So like, just let me show you a few examples like this one. The blue background is complementing the flowers and it makes the theme stand apart. And like this. So the phone in the first picture is taking away your attention. I want you to focus on this porridge, but the phone, the iPhone, the lure might take you away. But in the second picture, since the focus is there simply on the porridge and on the strawberry kind of a thing lying on the ground, it makes you fully concentrate on the object I'm trying to portray. So the lesson is that even if you're having a simple Android phone or a mighty DSLR, it is not the camera, but the hand behind the camera which makes a difference. I have this simple MI Note 5. I don't mind sharing the brand, but the pictures I grasp quite boastful, can be better than a DSLR if not managed properly. So to capture the tricks, capture the tips, you might go on and look out for online videos or even reach out to me if you need some offline tips. Before we proceed with the agenda, now calling upon the second speaker, it's time to call upon stage the second evaluator in the row, and that is Toastmaster Harshita, who is going to lay down the speech objectives for Toastmaster Rajiv Ranjan's speech. So over to you, Harshita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manya. Well, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. So thank you for sharing the tips and tricks to capture nice pictures on the World Photography Day. Thank you for that. And today I am the speech evaluator of Toastmaster Rajiv's speech. He is delivering his level 1 second speech from the Pathway Leadership Development. He has asked me to check his accent and fluency. So all the very best to our jovial Toastmaster, Toastmaster Rajiv. And with that, I'll hand over the stage back to you, Toastmaster Manya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Harshita. And now it's time to call upon stage the second speaker in row, the chartered accountant in the house. So, Shikha, we have a partner for you in the room. So, Toastmaster Rajiv, the human manual, Toastmaster Rajiv, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, DM Manya, and my topic is Women Manual. Do you have purchased any gadget without its manual? I think no. Every gadget has its own manual, and whenever your gadget is stuck to function, you always prefer to read the manual. Similarly, God provided us the Women Manual. Anyone can guess what is our life manual, please? Anyone? Please unmute and our life manual, Women Life Manual. Anyone can please?
R.D. Sharma, mathematic book. S.C. Verma.
Oh, if you see, if you want to live without fear, without depress, you can take decision effectively. Then you can sure read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Women Life Manual. Why? Because it describes every stage of our life. In modern age, it's a misconception that Bhagavad Gita is Hindu religious book, but it's not true. Because when you read this book entirely, you can know that the Lord Krishna told about the human karma, not about any religious. So we cannot say that this is the religious book. This is the manual of human life. Another misconception is that Gita is only for old age person. It is also not true. As like gadget, if you bought your gadget, you have to read the manual of the gadget, because that time we have no knowledge about the software and functionalities of that gadget. Similarly, in young age, we don't have more knowledge about the karma and its impact. So we have to read Bhagavad Gita to overcome the many unanswered questions. In case you are student or you are entrepreneur, there are many unsolved questions arises in your mind about your business risk, about your success ratio. So in such case, our life manual will help you to describe the actual karma. Basically, in Gita, it is told that we have only right to act, not over the result of the action. So it's also not true that we only at the stage of old age we have to read Gita. In that scenario, you can in modern age, and I can say in nowadays you can watch the TV and you know the situation of Afghanistan. The Taliban has attacked entire Afghanistan, and all citizens of Afghanistani citizens are being killed by them. They are brutally crushed by the Talibani to the Afghanistani citizen. So in such case, we have to read, we have to face the situation. I'm going to ask another questions. The Lord Krishna preached 700 sloka in 18 chapters of whole Bhagavad Gita. For which? For Arjuna, for us, or for me? Anyone can please? If you think that it is for Arjuna, then you cannot read Bhagavad Gita. If you can think that it is for us, then also you cannot read Bhagavad Gita. But if you feel that it is for me, then only you can read it. And I am going to explain the way of reading Bhagavad Gita. First of all, you have to put yourself at the place of Arjuna. Then after you can coordinate and correlate the speech of God, Krishna. And every day you have to read only 5 sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Gradually you can feel that your thought process and your action will be changed. I think we all have Bhagavad Gita, but it is placed only at Mandir place, for worship. But it is not for only worship. We have to read these books, and it's wisdom of our life. Our life will be enlightened, and our actions, our decisions will impact and will be free from win or defeat situation. Thank you all of you. Over to Toastmaster of the club, Toastmaster of the day, Manya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Raji. So now that we have finally got over with both the flamboyant speeches for the day, it's time to get into action and do some maneuvers and start off with the session for evaluation. But before we call upon stage the session taker for the day, can I have everyone on camera? Because I don't want to hand over the stage to distinguished Toastmaster Anusha with blank faces, but we want jovial faces to welcome the veteran Toastmaster who has actually shedded out a time for us to take us through a round of how to do an effective evaluation. So Ankita, Harshita, Arjun, Kshitij, Sanchit, Pradeep, Bhavna, Disha, it would be good if we can greet Ma'am Anusha with our jovial faces lit up with the smile and have a good take on her. Okay. So before I hand over the stage to our trainer for the day, let me lay down a brief introduction about Toastmaster Anusha. So distinguished Toastmaster Anusha Khurana is an international level speaker. She has won the District Evaluation Trophy in the year 2017. This lady with more than 20 years of experience as a soft skills trainer has trained students at IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, Calcutta, as well as Kozhikode. In addition to that, she has also trained corporates and government officials alike. She has even spoken at functions hosted by the President of India, Finance Minister, and the list goes on. Veteran Toastmaster Anusha Khurana, we are glad to have you in the room today to take us through a tour of how to deliver an impactful, engaging speech evaluation. So, with a thunderous round of applause, guys, let's welcome on stage distinguished Toastmaster Anusha Khurana on impactful speech evaluation session.
Thank you, Manya.
Over to you,
very warm welcome and a very good evening to all of you. I hope we're able to make this evening a very interactive one. I have half an hour with me, so I hope to be able to get across to you, to have your views, to get to know what you want me to do. So Manya, quickly, what is the first thing which comes to your mind. Let me see if I can share my screen first. Is it visible?
Yes, it's clearly visible now.
Okay. So what is it, Manya, that you look for when somebody is evaluating you?
I aspire to be a version 2.0 from the current version when I delivered my speech the next time when I hear the feedback.
Okay, okay. Evaluate, if I say the word evaluate comes from the word value and elate, why am I using the word elate? Can anybody venture a guess? Why am I using the word elate? What does elate mean?
To be happy about something.
Yes, yes. So why do you think it's important to be happy?
That's the feedback. After speaking, if you get elated from evaluation.
Yes. After I finish my evaluation, I want you to be happy. I don't want you to feel miserable, demotivated, or I don't want you to feel that you didn't get your values worth out of what I was saying. So that is the trick. The practical tip which I want to give you is, if you're able to not make the person ungenuinely happy, genuinely, if you're able to make them happy, you have achieved what you want to do. And that does not mean you have to be a diplomat all the way. It does not mean you have to sugarcoat it. You can do all of this in a very nice way. Let me begin with, yes, just one sec. Manya, I'm getting a control. The screen is coming on top, so I'm not able to screen share properly.
The controls are given.
Okay, I'll continue from here. So my first thing to you is, we start from the very beginning, a very good place to start, which comes from the movie Sound of Music. Now, what is the first thing that you hear in a speech? Harshita, what is it that you hear when you are in a speech? When you're about to deliver a speech or you're about to evaluate a speech, what is the first thing that you hear? Anybody for that matter? Manya?
Voice quality, I think.
No, the first thing. You will hear voice quality, agreed. But what else will you hear?
Smile, face expression, smile.
Something more?
Speech title of the speech. What is the speech about?
The topic of the speech, fantastic. The title is the first thing you'll hear even before the speech begins. And that's the trick to the whole story. If you're able to catch the title, understand it and its implications, half the game is done. So listen very carefully to the title. I always train to ensure I hear the title right, because if I get it right, then a large part of the job is done. Once upon a time, there was a speech in which I heard bugle effects, and the actual speech was Google effects. So you can imagine, throughout the time I was trying to evaluate, nothing was making sense to me. So this is called the fulcrum or the hinge effect. What I've written after that is in French. What it means is, you see a door which moves very well. Tu vas en porte, ça marche très bien. Because your entire evaluation is going to hinge around the title of the speech. And who gives the title, Manya? Do I give the title, or does the person who's introducing me give the title?
The speaker gives the title.
The speaker sometimes gives the title, but more often than not, the person who's introducing them gives the title. So strain your best to hear the title, because very often when the speaker starts speaking, they don't give the title. They start straight away. Okay, I'd love it if you were to pause me and ask questions right in the middle where we are going. Absorption of the title. Now, what do? You've got the title. You've understood it. Now is the time to brush off everything that you've understood, because you are not the one who's written the speech. Somebody else has written the speech. So what you have to do is understand the title and immediately ununderstand it. Why? Because you have to hear the speech from the speaker's point of view. So what do? You give a minute for yourself of what you understand of the title and then wipe your slate clean. You got to understand because our brain is a very funny organ and it won't rest till we interpret it. So you have to interpret the speech. Google effects, bugle effects, what could it be? Let me understand what it could be. But after that, wipe it clean because Manya is going to deliver the speech, because Ankita is going to deliver the speech, because Harshit, Rajiv is going to deliver the speech. Harshit, Rajiv is going to talk about the Gita, for example. Now, if the title of the speech had been the Gita, we wouldn't have known what he'd been talking of because he talked of all aspects of the Gita. So the first things first, listen to the title and then wipe every concept you have clear from your mind. Any questions still here? Okay. What happens after the title? The title, Anusha Khurana, Love is Blind, Anusha Khurana. What happens after that? The speaker comes on stage and starts speaking. Now here we have the two-way theory. All of us, can we have the muting of the mics, please? So what I'm saying is the two-way theory is you divide the page that you've been given for. I'm going to give you very practical tips because I have very short time. So what you do is you take your paper and divide it into two parts, the right side and the left-hand side. You actually run a line through it. The right side, you write plus, and the left side, you write minus. Now, can you tell me why right side plus and the left side minus? I can see very few people, so I have to ask whoever. Nishtha, why plus on the right side and minus on the left-hand side?
I think we are going to write the commendations and the recommendations on them.
Yes. You're going to the right-hand side. You can have it your way. You can do it left, right. But one part is for the commendations and the other part is for the recommendations. Here the catch is, as you are listening to the speech, you have to quickly start putting down what the speaker is saying, the important words on the right and the left-hand side. Don't try and interpret anything. Just write, love is blind, catch 22, Gita, Arjun. But you have to decide whether it's a plus point or it's a minus point. So quickly analyze it and put it in the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the page where you're going to be finally reading it out from. I always take 2 pages. The first is the rough page. Now, my question is, why do you note verbatim? Why do you note the exact words that the speaker is giving? Rajiv, why do we need the exact words, Rajiv?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. I'll tell you why we need the exact words. We need the exact words because later on we are going to attach a large part of what you said to those words. So if I'm saying love comes after a long waiting period, note down that phrase, waiting period, love, waiting period. That's really important. Don't try to put your interpretation. Just note down the words verbatim and leave a gap after each word that you're noting down. Suppose the speech is, where do I see myself 15 years from now? So where, 15 years, and that's it. So you will have a hint. Why I'm doing this is because you will have a hint for yourself once you start interpreting these words later. Am I clear till now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Now, some people want to divide the page into three portions. There's a neutral territory. Sometimes you can't decide whether it's a plus or a minus, so quickly put it in the central portion. This will help you later if you run short of ideas. This is called the neutral territory. The critical part comes once the speech is over. We are given 5 minutes in which we are allowed to interpret what the speaker has said. Quickly move the neutral territory into a plus or a minus, and then decide the meaning of the words the speaker did into a C and an R. Decide whether this was a good point or this was a bad point. The pluses obviously are C and the minuses are R. What happens after this? you get a nice list of C's and R's. Is that all? No. Addition of C and R should be there if you do not have enough already. Suppose I have 2 commendations and no recommendation. I'll quickly look through the verbatim words which I have noted, and something will come to me, because whatever the speaker was saying will come to me at that time. Quickly note that down and form, if all of you read psychology, or some of you who read psychology will know, that will make you form a gestalt. You'll recall the speech as a whole, and you will have an impression of the speech, whether you liked it or you didn't like it. From your memory, recreate the speech that was done. If you cannot recall well, then look at the lines you have copied of the speaker, and something will definitely come to you. Ranking of the C's and the R's. Now we have lots of C's and lots of R's. I love certain things about the speaker, and loving is really easy. Oh, he spoke beautifully. He had a fantastic accent. The words, the pronunciation was good. Vocal variety was there. But remember to rank. Whatever you've done, put the most important C on top, then the next C, then the next C, not more than 3. I would suggest not more than 3 C's and 2 or 3 R's. Keep 1 C for the end, because it's CRC. You will have an idea as to which C and which R is the strongest. Keep them for the beginning. Most of the time, give your strongest C for the beginning. However, if you are hesitant to dive straight in, you can begin with a milder C, which sets the tone for your speech. And then immediately after that, come up with the most powerful C that you found, because you need time to speak. Elaborate well on it, because your strongest C will carry you through, your C and your R. If you're going to give C's, give 3 C's at the most. I would suggest give C's till the green card is about to come, till the middle of the green card. You can anticipate that. Time spent on C's should be approximately towards the mid of the green card. That is, if you feel that in some time from now, the green card is going to come. If you keep on dragging on and you reach the green card with your C's already, it's a signal. Quickly transit to the R's. Depending on when you transit from the C to the R, you will have time to set their introduction. Very often, I've seen very good speakers raving and talking beautifully about the C's, but they forget that your analytical ability will be checked through your R's. If enough time is there for you to transit, now I'm transiting from my C's to my R's. I need to be able to communicate to you that I'm changing. I remember saying once, this was a 5-star speech. What could we do to make it a 7-star speech? This is what I have in mind. Now, why am I saying that? You have to keep the speaker motivated all the time. This is what experience has taught me. I've reached around 4 finals, and I found the time I decide to be super critical, it doesn't work. The time I'm encouraging, the time I'm positive, that's the time which works. So you have to have a good transition from your C's to your R's. So if the speech is on, let's say the topic is, where would I be 10 years from now? You start by saying, 10 years from now, I am sure I will be giving better recommendations. And in an attempt to work towards them, let me see what I can suggest for the speaker. But if you've reached the green card and your C's are still on, say, my recommendations are, and go straight on to the recommendations. Don't wait to set an elaborate setting. Don't go for an elaborate setting. For the speech. Recommendations are the base on which you work. How you analyze, what you analyze, the quality of your analysis is what is going to take you through. Now, all of us, most of the time, have 1 or 2 similar recommendations. So that recommendation of yours, which you think is unique, keep that on top. Speak about it first. Strongest one first means your strongest recommendation first. Expand on it well enough so that people understand what you're talking about. Illustrate it to the audience. You talk of vocal variety, but you don't give any sample. Let's give a sample to the audience as to what vocal variety is all about. That's something, if you do, the audience gets an idea as to what is expected to be done by the speaker in place of what he or she did. Now, 3 recommendations are maximum. Most of the time, I think 2.5 are good enough. 2 you give in detail and 1 small one you give later. And the first one should be very clearly explained. Balanced ones depends on how much time you have, how well you understand what you want to say, and how deeply you've analyzed it. Now, the toughest thing is for the speaker who is coming first. He or she has to speak immediately. So what you do is get your R's very clear in your mind. For the C's, just keep the headings. Vocal variety was beautiful, they spoke beautifully, etc., etc. But your R's should be well done. They should be done in such a way that they get across to the speaker and to the audience. Now, I'm going to stand up and illustrate something to you. I've written gentleness of demeanor. There was one speaker, she would do this. I think you'll recognize it also. She would do this and say, the speech was all about settling down. So what she would say was, and I'm going to settle down. And every time she did, she would do this gesture and say, I'm going to settle down. Now, that looked a little out of place. So what I did was I began analyzing this gesture. But this was something which was not expected of a good evaluator, because you don't mimic the speaker. You don't do things which might upset the speaker. You could simply, or I could simply have said that the speaker had a certain kind of gesticulation, which was different, and it could have been handled in a different way altogether. So throughout your analysis, you have to remember to be gentle. You have to be gentle in your analysis. Okay. So this is somewhat overall what you'll be doing when you will be going for an evaluation. What you will be doing is you will be watching the speaker speak and you will absorb the title of what the speaker has spoken about. Thereafter, you will analyze what the speaker said into the C's and the R's. After you have analyzed the C's and the R's, you will grade the best C first, the second C next, and the third C after that. Thereafter, you will come to the recommendations. Strongest recommendation first, next recommendation second, and so on till you are able to finish all your recommendations. Now, what are the guidelines you have to keep in mind? What does pithy mean? Rajiv, what does pithy mean? Can you explain what pithy means? Pithy means, what is the meaning of the word? The pithy, the word, what does it mean?
To explain something very clearly.
Sorry?
To be very clear, precise.
Very precise. And so you have to be very, very precise in what you are going to be speaking about. Number 2, you have to be accurate. Number 3, don't introduce new points after you finish off your C and your R. Then you just have one more C which you have to introduce. You do your C, you do your R, and then you do the summary. Once you've done the summary, you have to wind out by giving a bouquet to the speaker. You cannot leave the speaker being demotivated. So do your C, do your R, do your final C, and then end up by saying, let's see what I've written here. Having said all that, I still feel that the linkage of the topic to the speech was so strong that the recommendations take a shadow. The speaker's strong points will raise his or her speech, taking with them the points of suggestion. So this is a very mild way of saying that what the speaker did was very well done. They could have done it better, but I still like overall what they did. That is really, really important to be done. Here are some tips on, now this is general tips on evaluation. Smile. It costs nothing, but warms up the audience to you. That is really important. Smile when you begin. In the middle, if you're talking something which is humorous, smile again. Now, nowadays, when we have virtual presentations, eye contact can maximal be with the camera. So as I look at you, I hope we are eye to eye and we are able to talk 1:1. In virtual meetings, it's even more important that you have good eye contact. Now, who's heard of Amy Cuddy? Amy Cuddy, anybody heard of her? Fake it till you make it. Who's heard the theory, fake it till you make it? Manya. Manya, what does fake it till you make it mean?
You have to constantly rehearse it till you actually make to your destination what you're aiming for.
Yeah, it means you put on a facade, you put on an act of what you really would like to be. If I would like to be super confident, I begin by looking the part of being super confident. I smile, I have eye contact, I have good body language. That is something which might not come naturally to you. You know, some of us will swallow, some of us will feel uncomfortable. All that has to be put to the backside. Just learn to put on a smile. When you come on stage, that's something which should come automatically to you unless you have a very serious topic in mind. This is called power posing. And believe me, Amy Cuddy did a study in which people were asked to just say, I am confident. You know, they had to just raise their arms and sit behind like this in a power pose before they went on to speak. And they came out much more confident than they would have come out normally. Then we have these words. I have time. Body language gauge is a very important gauge which will work for you in your evaluation. If you are speaking, even if you are sitting or you are standing, if you have a shifty eye, if you are not firm, if your hands are shaking or your eyes don't have proper eye contact, that will go against you in the evaluation itself. Sometimes I found people who are not genuinely praising somebody will just look like that. And the speaker looked really confident, but they won't look at the audience. That is an indicator that you're fudging. What I want to say is don't try and sugarcoat. You don't need to say things which are not true. Something or the other you will find in the speech which is true. You know, you don't need to say the speaker had beautiful vocal variety if he or she did not. You can say that the ups and downs in the voice were very good at some points and could have been carried further at a later point of time. That, if it is done, then the judges, the audience, and the speaker, they know that you are not sugarcoating, you are being genuine when you're talking about something. I think all of it, boils down to being genuine and being warm. These two things I found consistently. Whenever I've gone on stage and I've been super, I've done really good hours and I thought I've done fantastic recommendations, I've realized that this hasn't worked. I have to be genuine to the speaker. I have to try and raise the speaker to another level by being genuine. These two things, if we can have, they will really help us in doing a good evaluation. I think, Manya, 3 more minutes to go.
Yes, ma'am, you can take 3 or 5 minutes. You can have, you can complete the points and then we can have a few questions and then we'll proceed.
Yeah. So, I was remembering the time when this happened. She said, I'm going to settle down. I finished the speech by saying the speaker need not have done, I need to settle down. Anybody would have settled down very happily with her. I thought I'd finished on a very positive note and I'd given a great, ending. But during the course of my speech, I had rubbed people the wrong way. That's what I felt. And that's what is something we have to really, keep in our minds. So quickly summing it up, title, divide your page into 2 halves, write the C's, write the R's, write the neutral points, grade your C's, grade your R's, the best C first, the next C second, the next C third, your best R after that, then the next R, and then a beautiful summary. In the summary, don't try and bring something new. Summarize whatever you've done, summarize it in a good way so that people are able to understand what you said, and then finish the speech on a very big high. Give the speaker that feeling that, yes, you have the courage to mount the stage today, and you will have the courage to mount the stage again and again, because once you've done it, you overcome your fear. You know, if you don't find a speaker good at all, at least one thing you'll accept: the speaker had the courage to come forth in glossophobia. 73% of the world worries about glossophobia. So if the speaker had the courage to come forth and speak, that itself is a very, very great thing to have done. So before I say au revoir to you, au revoir means bye-bye in French, I'll just read my thoughts on evaluation. I can give without losing. I can give you a good evaluation without losing anything that I have. I can share your good points with you without compromising anything to me. It's not that I should have written, I need to add value to your speech. I need to make your speech more valuable. If genuineness is there from my side, then everything will shine. The phoenix shall rise. That's my surmise. That's my surmise. And that's my surmise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anusha. I think that after such a detailed tour of all from C to R to C with a beautiful summary, I think that we are all feeling really equipped for the contest coming up. So we can now open the floor for a few questions if there are any from the audience end. So guys, you can raise your hand and you can go ahead. Any questions regarding evaluations?
There must be
Hello,
things
ma'am.
you. Yeah, hi.
Hi, I'm Abhijit from Jaipur Toastmasters Club.
Hi, Abhijit.
Thank you for such a wonderful session. I have a question. Like you told me that when you are jumping from the commendations to recommendations, there are certain phrases you use. But what should we use in terms of from recommendations to conclusions at the end of the speech? Will there also
recommendations? You go to the summary. From the
Yes.
recommendations, you say, and now to summarize, now to encapsulate the speech, I'm encapsulating all that I have spoken till now. And then you round it off. You give a summary, and then you say, to wind up the speech in its entirety, to get the entire effect across to you. What I found most beautiful about the speech was that the speaker had the courage to come across and speak truthfully to us, which came and touched us right to the core. So leave the speaker on a high, and when you transit, make the transitions very positive. Don't make the speaker feel low at any point of time. I remember there was a speech in which she talked of extrasensory perception. You can see it on YouTube. The 2017 evaluation, which I did, I felt I was very generous with the speaker and I was actually meaning everything I said. So when you transit, try to transit in a positive way. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Can I ask now?
Yeah, please go ahead. Could I have your introduction?
Yeah, this is Simran ma'am, and today's evaluator.
Yeah, Simran, hi.
Yeah, hi ma'am. So ma'am, I'm really sorry that I didn't listen that what phrases should we use from coming from recommendation to recommendation.
Let's use one here. For such a 5-star speech, what could we do to make it to a 7-star level? You said something that the speech is really nice, but you've also said that there are rungs to be climbed. You can also say, for a speech which had so many positives, what is the little bit of tweaking we could do to take it to another level altogether? Or you can say, nobody's perfect. Thank God for that. And to bring the speaker as close to perfect as possible, I have a few self-given recommendations, which are only mine. Anything you say, as long as it's gentle and it's positive, that's what's going to help.
Ma'am, I have a 2-point question.
Yeah, just ask me one by one.
Okay, so one of the things that one of the fellow Toastmasters talked about transition. Sometimes it is very jarring sometimes the transition is not pretty smooth. And I have attended few sessions on evaluation wherein people have dissuaded or have actually made us have advised us against using phrases like having said that, as much as I would like to, and something of that sort, for what it's worth. And so how do we make a transition which is not pretty jarring? And the other question, the second point question is, what if you're not able to find any recommendation in the speech?
Let me
What do
answer
you
your
do
second
then?
question first. I already answered that. There is no way you cannot laud a speaker for having had the courage to come on stage. Have a standard line ready. Say for 73% of the audience in the world which suffers from glossophobia, this is one person who had the courage to overcome that glossophobia and mount the stage. Hats off to the speaker for that. It takes courage just to come on stage. So anybody who has come, if you can't find anything else, at least this one thing is there, then if there is content in the speech, you will have something you would have liked about the content that the person has given. Talk about the content. Talk about things and be genuine. I again and again say that, be very genuine. Try and see what little positivity there is. You obviously either will really like the speech or really dislike it. So if you really dislike it, then these are the standard safeguards you can keep and which are again genuine, which you can give. And to your first question, how do we make a transition non-jarring? Now, to make a transition non-jarring, you take off from the last commendation you gave. You say, this speaker had the courage to come on stage, had fantastic content, had a philosophical message to give across to us. Do you think something was missing? Well, something could have been added here. There are so many ways of just transiting. And if you're in a hurry, you transit and say, I have given what I found fantastically positive about the speaker, but I feel there are some little points which need to be tweaked. If you're running short, you're near the green card, then you say that. But nothing is jarring until it is hypocritical. I feel that if you're saying something which you're not saying genuinely, then it might look jarring. So try and again, try and be genuine. And you will come up with something which you'll be able to link the positive and the negative with, and you'll be able to transit very smoothly. And there are 2, 3 which you can always keep ready with you. This 5 to 7 star speech, I think I've used once. And then tweaking of what you're going to be saying is something I've used again. And then the standard line that thank God, nobody's speech can be perfect, because then we would be Mr. or Miss Perfect ourselves. And keeping that as a cue, let me try to analyze what the speaker said and bring out what could have been done, something to that effect. Does that answer your question, or would you like to cross-question me on that?
Just one thing, that is it okay to use phrases like having said that, like once I'm done with my commendations, can I move to a recommendation by using phrases like having said that, but something of that sort?
There's no harm, frankly. You can say that having said so many positives doesn't mean I was immune to factors which can be tweaked. You can use the word having said that might have been combined with something which is slightly negative. That is what they must have wanted you to avoid. What they're trying to say is, having said that sounds like you've done a favor to somebody by speaking, very favorably about them. And now you're coming to the actual thing where you're going to be analyzing. So you can say, having said that, I know nobody's perfect. Thank God for that. So here I come with some recommendations, which are from my personal viewpoint. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah. Could I have the name, please?
My name is Ping. I'm from District 51.
Okay.
Yes. Recently, I evaluated a speaker, and she did very well. Her speech was wonderful, but she did not fulfill the purpose of the speech. So how would I go about that?
Purpose of the speech, meaning she did not she did not have a message in the speech?
She was doing a understanding your communication style, right? It's supposed to talk about her communication style that impact others. But her speech didn't touch on that. But her speech was very good. So how would you recommend to go about that?
No, I haven't got it. She was talking about understanding your communicating style. And she talked about it.
Her project is understanding your communication style.
Right.
But her speech didn't touch on the purpose, which is how explaining how her communication styles impact others. That is the purpose of the speech. That was the purpose of it.
You said it yourself. You said it fantastically. What you do is you say that in a speech which was so well-rounded, there was one aspect which was missing. The crux of the speech should have been targeted to trying to get across your communication style to the audience. And that was the exact thing which was missed out. If this had been taken care of, it would have been a speech of a different genre altogether. But I'm sure she learned that and she'll be able to do it in another speech from now. So you've said it. In fact, you know what you're saying. You have already analyzed, right? You have already analyzed it. You don't need to be scared of criticizing nicely. You don't need to be a diplomat. You can say what you like, but don't be harsh. That's all I feel. Does that, have I got the question right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Anusha.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we can have one last question, which I saw raise a hand from Abhijit. So Abhijit, if you have a quick question, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Abhijit again. Ma'am,
Hi,
one more question that how should we start the evaluation? The people start with some quotation, they start with some takeaways from the speeches.
Okay,
But what is the proper...
Good question. Excellent question. Okay, I believe that the moment you come with the pre-rehearsed beginning, you have put an axe on your foot. I really believe that, unless it's 1 in 1,000 speeches. Pick up something which was said in the speech and talk about it, because that will show you are genuinely evaluating the speech. If you go about and you say that for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. This is a famous poem by Lord Alfred Tennyson. You've rehearsed it out. You are supposed to be analyzing on the spot. So that is what I want you to do. Pick up a phrase from the speech. Pick up the central idea of the speech. Pick up something the speaker did, but let it be very much showing that you were there and you heard the speech now. You could never have heard it earlier. That's another very good tip, which I should have shared with you, that pick out something which is there from the speech, link it up with the title, and explain to the audience why you liked it. Because after all, you're going to begin with what you've liked. So what you've liked has to be linked to the title of the speech that you're talking about. And very rarely will people talk off the topic. People, when they are talking, they will be talking around the topic. Sometimes people get misguided and will give a topic or a title which is not very correct. But more often than not, they will connect. So that's a wonderful question. Hope that helps.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Manya, you're muted.
I think that with this, we have already exceeded the time limit, but the quality and the knowledge which we have gained from you, Toastmaster Anusha, I think that it's incomparable, it's invaluable. And with this, I'm feeling even more equipped to go with the evaluation contest. And I think that all those 30 people sitting in this room are feeling the same. So
Thank you so much.
So as a moment of gratitude, can we all please come on camera and give a thunderous round of applause to Toastmaster Anusha for so effortfully preparing the slides and sparing her time for all of us. So
Thank you so much.
So can you come on camera and give a thunderous round of applause? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So before you all go off from the camera, and ma'am, we would like to capture a screenshot for this evaluation session. So with this, I would like to capture a screenshot. So 3, 2, 1, I'll say, and you all have to smile, because a smile is the genuine thing which we can wear on online screen and even in an evaluation. So let's start the rehearsal at this very moment. So Adarsh, are we ready to take a screenshot? Great. So 3, 2, 1, let's give a huge smile. Is it done?
Done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Manya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And if you guys missed on some tweaks and tricks how to actually change from C to R to C, we will be giving you a YouTube recording which is available on our channel. I'll shortly share a link in our chat box, so stay tuned in for the link if you wish to revisit some pointers for the session. And in case you have some questions to distinguished Toastmaster Anusha, you may feel free to contact me. I'll ensure that I forward it to ma'am and she reverts, and I'll ensure that all your queries get answered before you actually step into the shoes and go for the contest. So I think that's it. And with this, I would like to hand over the stage to the table topics master for the day. But before that, we have to have the polls for the best speaker. So can we have Aditi, the polls?
The polls are there on the screen. So we had our first speaker who was Adarsh and second speaker Toastmaster Rajiv. I request you all to cast your votes.
So Aditi, as soon as the polls are over, please let me know and I'll call upon the table topics master.
Thank you. The polls are over.
Great. All right. Thank you so much for polling and being there for the session, guys. So with this 25 participants in the room, I invite on the stage the table topics master who will try to incorporate as many people in this impromptu session. So handing over the stage to the debutant table topics master for the day, Toastmaster Kartik Batra. Over to you, Kartik.
Thank you so much, Team Odimanya. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kartik Batra's table topic session. To all the guests in the room, it's your turn to speak your voice out. So let me just get on to the gallery here, right? So let me see everyone. Please, everyone, we have 25 participants. Everyone, please turn your cameras on so that we can have an interactive way out and speak. We can just have an interactive session now. I'm waiting for everyone. I will not start until everyone get their cameras on. Okay, great. So the purpose of this session is to facilitate the guests and the Toastmasters members without a role to practice impromptu speak and have fun also. So I'll give you something to speak upon and you'll have to pour your thoughts out. And beware, please, all the guests, the timer is keeping an eye on you. So you have the time limits. You should speak minimum of 1 minute and maximum of 2 minutes with a grace period of 30 seconds before getting disqualified. I think that you should all adhere to time and not get disqualified. We'll have polls for the best table topic speaker, and I'll be prioritizing the guests and the members without a role when I'll be giving the table topics. And I don't have a presentation today. Okay, we'll not make it an MBA or a corporate meeting. We'll have one-to-one conversations. I will ask you questions and you'll have to answer me about your life. So to show all the guests what kind of impromptu speaking is this, I would like to call some experienced member who will be that. Guneet, do we have you with us?
Yes, Toastmaster Kartik.
Oh, superb. Okay, so I'll give you a question. Let me see. Okay, if you could choose your dreams at night, what would you prefer to dream about?
Could you please repeat?
To Guneet, if you could choose your dreams at night, what dreams do you want to have at night? What would you prefer to dream about?
Dreams. Oh my God, I go back to the last night. So before I tell you what dream would I have, let me tell you, last night I was having a conversation with a random guy over Instagram who asked me, what are you interested? And I was like, please don't be a next door auntie. And I said, I love eating. This was 1 a.m. at the night and I went back to my bed. And do you know what did I dream about? Just eating. I was in a pool of all food, surrounded with spaghettis and marveling into good food, hummus, pita bread, and desserts and cheesecakes and whatnot. So yes, if you ask me what would I dream about or what I usually dream about, it's just the food. So whenever I am waking up, only I could think about like a jobless person is about food, not about cooking, but how to persuade people to cook for me so that I end up enjoying with my beer at night and eat just that's it. So Toastmaster Karthik, all I could dream about is eating and eating. And before I was off camera, I was persuading my sister to make me very amazing, yummiest spaghetti. And that's how I run here, skipping the meeting. So if I could skip my meeting for food, I can dream about it all time. So over to you, Toastmaster Karthik Batra. And yes, everyone, it's a treat from Toastmaster Karthik Batra. So treat yourself with good food today while you sleep. Okay, over to you.
So whenever you all meet Guneet, she'll be giving you a spaghetti because it's a favorite food, right? Okay. So next, do we have? Wait a minute. Guest Ankita with us? No. Do we have guest Kshitij Madan with us? Would you like to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be an honor. I will definitely try.
No problem. I'd love to have conversation with you. So, okay. If our lifespans would have been only 20 years, how would you live your life differently?
Oh my God. I think this is a bit tricky question, but I would love to answer this question. I think what I really believe about life is not about a time span, but it about a quality which we live each day. So I can relate this thing with happiness. So I tell you one interesting fact about happiness. So when I was 13, I asked my mother, "Mom, what is happiness?" She told me that happiness, Kshitij, is about two things which you have to really understand, because life is just about 2 points. So she told me that happiness is divided into two things. First is absolute happiness, and the second one would be relative happiness. So what I asked my mother again, my mom, what is absolute happiness? She told me that absolute happiness refers to like happiness you genuinely feel from inside, like when you make someone smile, that is we can call it as a absolute happiness. But what I believe about relative happiness is that, like, I want some materialistic things. So, and if somehow I get that materialistic things, it would be a absolute happiness. So what I believe, if I have a time period of 20 years in my life, so I would prefer to have a life where I can get a absolute happiness, and I would love to make people smile. So this is what I really believe, that time span is about what you really give rather than what you really get. So I hope this answers your question.
Wow, I'm amazed. But we should also think of incorporating that thought in our lives, even though we have a lifespan of approximately 60, 80, or 100 years. We should go for absolute happiness, what we give to society, not what we take from society, right? So, do we have any more volunteers with us who want to speak, who want to answer my questions and have an interaction with me about their lives? Any volunteers? Okay, we have guest Shikha. Shikha,
Yeah, I can.
I remember you are a CA, you have a 13-year experience. I'm also pursuing CA, by the way, and you're a mom. So I have
Okay.
a perfect question for you. If you have to give only one advice to a newborn baby, what would it be and why?
Don't bother your mom. That will be the one advice I would like to give to any newborn baby. So bother your dad, bother your grandparents, but don't bother your mom. Your mom is the one who has kept you in her stomach for 9 months. Now it's time for others to take that pain. And yeah, that is the one advice. But yeah, it's been a very different experience being a mother. So my baby is 10 months old now. So fantastic experience. He is giving me advices every day rather than me giving him advices. So he is teaching me every day with his learning agility, with his way of learning the new things in life. So yeah, it is both the sides. He is giving me advices, I am giving him advices.
You have more time to speak. You can also tell some experiences with your 10 months old
Yeah.
baby.
Okay. Yeah, so experience. So he has just started walking. So nowadays, what he does is that he holds the corner of the bed and he starts walking. What I learned from him is that uh, he never to give up. So he knows, he doesn't know, babies doesn't know how to walk, right? Never to give up is one of the things what you can learn. And yeah, as I said, learning agility of babies is definitely something what parents can look up to.
Yes. I also heard somewhere that you can learn more from a baby than from someone else in this
Yes.
world. That was superb. And experiencing a life with a baby is quite different from all of the experiences in life. Wow.
Right. It's the wonderful experience.
Okay, so do we have any more guests volunteering? First, we will be covering guests, and then if we have time, we'll be going for members. Any more guests who want to volunteer and want interaction with me? Anyone? Do we have Kartike with us here? Guest Kartike? Hi, you're doing BTech, and in first year you just didn't have registers, right? So I have a tech question for you. Wait. Some technology question. What is your favorite way to pass time online? I'll repeat. What is your favorite way to pass time online?
Okay, I would like to start with that there are two separate things, passing time and wasting time, and people often confuse between them. People often get confused between them, and I would like to tell both of them. So the best way of wasting time would be going on to Netflix or Amazon Prime and watching a series and just binge watching it for hours and like enjoying eating snacks with it. But if you really want to invest your time in something, so the best way of passing time online would be looking for a specific course or something that would really help you develop your skills related to your profession or related to the work that you are doing. And if you find nothing, if you don't find anything, you can just go over and watch something that's informative, that will make you a bit more knowledgeable than you were before. And there is nothing that we learn that goes waste. We somewhere or at some moment or the other, we always use whatever we learn. So instead of wasting our time, I think we should be not even passing, we should be investing our time into things that will give us a definite return in our future. Thank you. That's all.
Wow, I'm with you in this because as today's World's Photography Day, I was also learning photography from YouTube, but I've left it now for some time. But investing time is way better than wasting time. Thank you so much, Kartike. And do we have any more guests in the room who are left? Wait, Arun, guest Arun Jyoti Datta, if I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Wait, I have a question for you. So now you will be playing games, okay? You must have heard of the game Would You Rather. I'll be giving you two situations, and you'll have to choose one, and you'll have to tell why, and you can also include what will happen if you'll choose that. So the first question will be: Would you rather travel 100 years ahead, or would you rather travel 100 years back in time if you have a traveling time machine?
Yeah.
I'll repeat. What would you like? Would you rather traveling 100 years ahead in time, or would you rather travel 100 years back in time? Which time are you more futuristic, or do you like the past things happening?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. What a beautiful question it is. Do we want to go back 100 years, or do we want to go ahead for another 100 years? Another 100 years, you say. Fantastic question. Everything has got its beauty. If we look back, we see some beauty. We have got history in our hands. We have got past history We have recently celebrated the milestone of Republic Day, Independence Day. What is it? It is a moment to cherish. But is it only celebration? No, it's the struggle and pain that was taken by our freedom fighters, and then we are celebrating. So we have got some good memories. We have got some past, which reminds us, which has given us that we can survive. And that was the vision our freedom fighters had. And that is why we are celebrating our independence. We have got so many things in the past. But looking ahead, if we see the future, we are coming up with some new technology. We think about our social media. We started with Orkut. Now we are talking about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Every day we are talking about something new. If we look ahead, we see something new every day. We talk about real cameras in the past. We waited for 2 days to have a snap. And now we are talking about digital camera. In a single moment, we get the photography. So it's the future. Day by day, we are getting new things. So it's not about the past, not about the future. Everything has got its own unique identity. It's only us, how we look at the beauty of its face. And that's what from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Karthik. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I love your idea of having a unique identity. So,
yeah, Karthik, I don't think we have space for more topics. It's time that we launch the polls and we hand over the stage.
okay, thank you so much, Manya. My time's over. Everyone was fabulous speaking. Can you please launch the polls now?
Yeah, Aditi, please launch the polls.
Yeah, polls are there on the screen. Guys, please cast in your vote. I've got 60% till now. 70, 76.
Guys, vote fast. We have the general evaluation session lined up for the day. Is it done?
Yeah, it's done.
All right. Thank you. So, Karthik, you might take forward the stage. Okay. So, thank you so much, Toastmaster Karthik. It was a fantastic session. On your debut, it was really nice. Now, it's time that we see what is the feedback we all have in store for us. So with this, I would like to hand over the stage to our general evaluator for the day, again a debutant, Toastmaster Aditi Monka. Over to you, Aditi.
So thank you so much for the introduction, Manya. Now that we are running short of time, so I'll just quickly brief you about the third section of our meeting, which is the general evaluation section, as we have got a superb training on the evaluation part. And we know that the word evaluation is made of two things, that is value and elated. So I just feel that by the end of the session, all those who receive their evaluation are elated. So with this, I'd like to introduce my entire team to you, who, with the help of whom I have been able to do the entire meeting's evaluation. So first, I'll call upon the stage the evaluator one, who is Toastmaster Simran, who's going to evaluate Toastmaster Adarsh's speech. So Toastmaster Simran, can we have you on the stage?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator Aditi. How government is privatizing each and every bank, making bankers tense or rather more tense, isn't it? So, hi, good evening, everyone. This is how Toastmaster Adarsh came on stage by asking some questions, and in flow, he told the definition first, and then with some example and with proper difference between capitalism and socialism. Not only this, even he made us aware the history, the origin of capitalism. And you know, the most likable part of his speech was that he fulfilled the speech criteria by telling some exact instances of Air India, banks, and all these things meticulously. With this, with some pros and cons both simultaneously. But here, I have some points which can take Toastmaster Adarsh speech to the next level. And that is that when he was delivering his speech, he was reading his content on the screen, which was indirectly affecting his eye contact. And being an evaluator, I was supposed to notice I was supposed to notice his eye contact as well. So I have one recommendation for him that whenever you are preparing for the speech, try to learn all your content beforehand. Okay. And the second point I have, that is that when okay, the second point is this: when you were trying whenever you are coming with some different topics, because this topic was little bit different from our other members. It doesn't germane to every most members of our Toastmasters. So try to come up with 2 to 3 slides of PPT, so it will be little bit more fascinating. Okay. Otherwise you fulfilled all the criteria. Now, if I come to encapsulate my report, then I would say that yes, you were reading your content on the screen, but still you were showing your hand gestures properly, with proper hand gestures, with proper eye contact, with proper vocal variety. Just you need to work upon your eye contact, because you were reading that thing. Otherwise, your vocal variety and your hand gestures and your facial gesture was totally fulfilling the content what you were delivering. The only thing that I would recommend is the only thing that is you need to show some PPT slides, and with this you need to learn beforehand. Otherwise, I liked your background also, and that how you delivered, and everything was totally meticulously you done. And now with this, I want to give the best of luck for your next speech as well. Now, thank you so much for giving me the stage. Now I have to hand over the stage to our Toastmaster Aditi.
Thank you, Simran, for your wonderful feedback. Next, I call upon the stage our second evaluator, who's going to evaluate speech of our second speaker, who was Toastmaster Rajiv. So, Toastmaster Harshita, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. Key to happiness is a reduction of desires is one of my favorite quote from the Bhagavad Gita. Toastmaster Rajiv, I loved the subject of your speech. I want to talk about the strong points of this speech first. Firstly, you shared the idea of human manual by comparing it to the gadget manual. We human understand better when we see the comparison study. Second thing I really liked about that, you were on the ball regarding the pace of your speech. You gave me time to absorb everything that you were saying throughout your speech. The next thing I liked about your speech, that there were some deep questions for the audience, such as those 700 shloks, 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita written for whom? Arjuna, us, or me? Loved the structure of your speech. Now, coming to recommendation, what can help you make your speech from good to great? I have 2 key suggestions for you for today. Firstly, the eye contact. Initially, when you started, I felt like you were actually reading the manual. Make sure that you are looking into the camera so that the audience feel connected. Second is the body language. You were sitting in at one position and you were just using one hand, and that too just sometimes. I've seen your last speech, you use this stage wonderfully, then you can do it even again. So I would recommend to use the body language, to use the stage, because non-verbal communication also plays a role, more than 50% in fact. To sum it up, I would say I like the speech. I like the choice of the topic, the comparison study that you made between the human gadget and the human manual and the gadget manual, that made me understand how important it is for us to read the Bhagavad Gita. And you also mentioned that it is not a religious book. It is for everybody. It's not related to just one religion. Just a little bit work on the body language and use of the stage. It will have a greater impact of your words. And lastly, today is a good day because I heard your speech. And I already had Bhagavad Gita in my list, but this time I'm gonna read it as it is my manual. It is my Gita written for me. Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Toastmaster Aditi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harshita, for your wonderful evaluation. We'll launch polls for the best evaluator, and side by side, I would provide my feedback for the evaluators.
Aditi, you may launch the polls I've made.
Polls are already launched. It is there on the screen, Toastmaster Simran and Toastmaster Harshita. Please cast in your vote. Thank you. So coming on to my feedback, for both the evaluators, I think what we have learned very recently, both the evaluators have implemented it completely, and I would say it was 100% on implementation. Both the feedback started with a title absorption and coming on to the C's and the R's, and then the summary, and then the final encapsulation. My first recommendation for my recommendation for the first evaluator would be Toastmaster Simran. You had, as I said, you had a proper structure, but in this way, you had pointed out a lot of good points and bad points. Recommendations and commendations were in place, but my only recommendation to you is that in Toastmasters, we follow that whenever we provide evaluation, we provide it in the third person. So you can always use he or she or the speaker while giving your evaluation, and not in the second person. And the same recommendation for Toastmaster Harshita. Toastmaster Harshita had linked very well with the speech, and she had also left the speaker very elated, saying that she herself have got one thing from the speech. But only the same recommendation that whenever we provide evaluation to the speakers, we provide it in third person. That's it. So now we'll move on to our team of auxiliary role players, and we have a special role today for the Hark Master, which is played by a very regular and very ardent Toastmaster, Toastmaster Sarita. I invite you on the stage for your role. You are on mute, Sarita. I mean, you're not audible. Still not audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. So let's see how much active listener or how active we are in our listening. So there was one question, or there were few ideas from Toastmaster Manya, and one of the questions she asked, or one of the suggestions she provided, like how to convert the picture into memory. Can anyone answer that?
By choosing the right angle.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So second is for TM Adarsh. So he asked, or he raised a question, who is capitalist and who is socialist? And he answered also. So can I get answer from audience other than TM Adarsh?
Capitalists are those who would share who would want to get the salary, and socialists are those who would like to divide the profits between them.
Okay, fine. So then another question is from the speech of TM Rajiv. And he mentioned that, so as per speaker, how many shlokas should be read in a day?
5 shlokas per
Five.
speaker
Right.
per
So
person.
everyone is an active listener. Uh, okay. So last is from TM Anusha Khurana. So how many should be recommendations while evaluating the speech? I hope everyone answers that.
2.5.
And to maximum to 3. I know maximum limit. And one question from guest Shikha, or say, so what would be her advice to newborn? This is my last question. Can anyone?
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't bother your mother. Something. It was something like that.
Yeah. So we all are focused listeners. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
That's great, Sarita. And I've seen the first Hackmaster who has covered the entire meeting while asking questions. And this is a Hackmaster who has to put a stick behind everyone, listen to each and every speaker. And so that's wonderful. Now moving on to our tag team. And I'll call upon the stage our grammarian for the day, who is Toastmaster Nishtha. Toastmaster Nishtha, the stage is yours. Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. Firstly, I would like to say sorry that I won't be able to share my screen due to network problems, but I would just narrate the whole report. Firstly, I would like to start with the good usage of language, which are spill the beans, sail in the same boat, sugarcoat, ununderstand it, first things first, facilitate, gesticulation, encapsulate, tweaking, jarring, marveling into food, ardent and meticulously. Now, moving on to some grammatical errors I have noted. Somebody said, I would like to best of luck. Instead, the speaker should have said, I would like to say best of luck. Next, I noted, somebody said, taught human karma. It should be taught about karma. The word about was missing. Next, I noted somebody said, in whole days we have read Gita. And the speaker should have said, it is not necessary that we have to read Gita whole day, just the arrangement of subject and predicate. Next, I noted if somebody said Mandir place, and it should have been temple because we do not speak in Hindi, and the speaker should have translated the word. Next, somebody said practice impromptu speak, but it is practice impromptu speech. So the just speech instead of speak. Somebody said it about a quality, and they missed just one word. It is about a quality. And next I noted want interaction with me. It should have been if somebody want to interact with me. So the word to was missing. Next, moving on to the pronunciation errors, there were few. Somebody mispronounced these words: cushion, affordable, gadgets, human, action, camera, and photography, pros and cons. So they can perhaps work on that and see where they are going wrong. That's all from my side. Over to you, the Toastmaster. Thanks, Nishtha, for your wonderful and so precise evaluation. Next, I call upon the stage our second tag team player, who is the counter of the day, Toastmaster Ishan. Toastmaster Ishan, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Toastmaster Aditi, for this. I'll be just sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
All right. So first of all, congratulations to each and every speaker. Everyone performed brilliant, in my opinion, and even the table topic speakers. It was a brilliant event, brilliant attempt. For the evaluation report, special mention to our president. I couldn't hear any filler words there. And in the guest Arun Jyoti, he was quite nice with that. I couldn't hear much. And for Toastmaster Niti, I heard only one filler word. And for the guests, I have just one advice. In my first ever meeting, I struggled a lot. It was very difficult. So you can see the difference. It is quite better than it was previously if you look at the meeting. So if you join here, it will be good for you and you will obviously improve and the confidence level will increase. So don't worry much about this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ashan, for your wonderful evaluation and your perfect advice, giving your life example. Next, we move on to the most important player of the tag team, who is the timer, Toastmaster Tanvi. Toastmaster Tanvi, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. So we anyway have very little time in our hands. So I'll just quickly go ahead and share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So we had a fantastic show put up today, definitely. If we look at our speakers report, so both the speakers, Toastmaster Adarsh as well as Toastmaster Rajiv, they very well completed the speech in time, although Adarsh went slightly a little overboard, but yeah, still in a safe zone. Moving to our table topic speeches, if you can notice one thing, I've not highlighted anyone, which means everyone, and if you the majority of them are the guests and they went more than 1 minute. So kudos on that. That was a fantastic table topic session. Moving to our next report, which is our speech evaluators. Again, both Toastmaster Simran as well as Toastmaster Harshita gave their evaluation and completed it again within the time limit. Moving next on to our auxiliary role players, Accounter, Grammarian, Harpmaster, all the Toastmasters very well completed in the time limit as well. No one went above the red zone, so that is fantastic. To the last part, which is our role players. So Toastmaster Manya, she ended her session at 7:32 as compared to the prescribed time, which was 7:30, but we do have a grace period, so we're good on that. Toastmaster Karthik, our table topic master for today, ended the session again very well in time as well. Our general evaluator Aditi, I mean the session is not over yet, but I'm hoping it will be again within the time limit too. So yeah, I'm going to mention it once we're done with it. So yeah, that's pretty much my report for today, and I'm going to pass it back to you, Toastmaster Aditi.
Thanks, Tanvi. Meanwhile, I'll launch the polls for the best auxiliary role players. I'll side by side also give the evaluation. I'll also give the feedback for each of them. So the polls for the best auxiliary role players are there on your screen. Meanwhile, you cast your vote. I'll provide a quick feedback, starting with Toastmaster Sarita. Or maybe you can just end with the polls, else it would digress your own.
Yes, no worries, Aditi. We can have the polls first.
I think we are done. Thank you. So Toastmaster Sarita, I think you yourself are a very active listener and you had got a very perfect set of questions. And the best part is the time limit, which most of the times Half-Master do not abide to, and you were there well in time. One recommendation to you, you can just make your session a little more lively, and by cheering to all the people, cheering to all the people who are giving the right answers. That's just one recommendation. Toastmaster Nishtha, I think the perfect slides were presented while she gave the word of the day and the idiom of the day, and perfect list was provided of the good usage, and also a perfect way was used while she gave the list of bad usages as well, along with the correct counterpart of it. One recommendation, I think there was just a miss of one thing, which was number of times the word of the day and the idiom of the day has been used by different Toastmasters. So next time you can just take note of that. Coming on to Toastmaster Ishan, the introduction part was very clearly provided, that what is the role all about by Toastmaster Ishan, and the report which was made was very elaborate and very constructive. So my only recommendation to my few recommendations to Toastmaster Ishan is, while you're giving your introduction speech, you can use proper sounds and you can just tell audience who are actually new, and so that will make that your role much clear, that what is it all about. And also if you can use some structure while presenting your report. You started it very well by pointing out the best speaker, and you can also move it in the same way, that who were the medium and who use the most unintentional sounds and stuff. So that is the only recommendation for you. And next, moving on to timer, who was Toastmaster Tanvi. I think perfect slides, perfect way of telling the instructions about her role, and also a perfect report was presented. My only recommendation to you is, as you are the timer and nobody is timing you, so you should, and since you are evaluating everybody else on time, so you should just abide to the time limits. Yes, that's it. So with this, we'll have polls for the best role player as well. So we had Toastmaster Manya, who was team out of the day, Toastmaster Karthik as the table topic master, and Toastmaster Aditi, who that is me and Chris G. Thank you. And as we are running a little late, so I'll hand over the stage to Toastmaster Manya for the guest feedback, and I'll provide my feedback for TMOD and DTM personally later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Aditi. Perhaps being the VP, you have already learned crisis management skills for when we are running out of time, but still you have managed to finish well in time. I think it's just around 9, but I quickly wind up the meeting. So before we wind up, we have 5 minutes, so I want to exhaust the time interacting with the guests. So can we have a quick round of feedback from the guests? So I see Karthikeya. So Karthikeya, how was the meeting in all for you? Your feedback for the meeting? You're on mute. So Karthikeya, I'm audible. You need to unmute yourself for the feedback. Okay, you can fix it on later. Till then, I can move to the next guest. So we had guest Kshitij. So Kshitij, can you please unmute yourself, open your camera for once, and share us your feedback for the meeting? So Kshitij, are you there with us? Okay, he's out. No worries. So Kazi Nafis. So sir, are you there with us? If you can share the feedback. Guest Shikha, any guest who is there actually who can unmute and is there to share a feedback with us.
I can share, Manya. So fantastic session. It's been very interactive, what I understand, even for the guest. So I attended as a guest. I was not expecting to speak, but yeah, it was a very engaging session. Thank you for that. And even I didn't feel like that I'm a guest. I was feeling I'm a part of the team. So it's kind of a teamwork what you all are driving. Amazing experience.
Great. So thank you so much, Keshika. I think that having Sarita with us, Toastmaster Sarita, she is also a mother. So maybe you will find a company to just join us along,
Yeah.
and we have mothers along with the youngsters in this room. So you good amalgamation with this group. I'm sure about it. So next we have guest Arun Jyoti Datta. Sir, are you there to share a feedback? Yeah. You're not audible, sir.
Good evening. First of all, I will send you. Hello.
Your voice
Am I
is
audible
breaking,
now?
sir. Yeah, it's breaking a bit. If you can hold your mic close to your mouth, it could be speak. Or maybe you can just plug off your earphone.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, it's better.
Am I audible now? Yeah, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It was a very nice and interactive session. I am a Toastmaster from division J4, actually area J4. And I attended the meeting for the evaluation module that was being presented. It was very interactive and very interesting, and I could learn a lot. And as regards to your conducting the session, it was very fantastic. I could learn a lot from the entire team, from all the role players, including the speakers. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, guest Arun Jyoti. I'll make sure that your words of feedback for the trainer will reach her soon. So I think that Kartikeya is your
microphone adjusted now, if you can try. Okay, no worries. So maybe we can listen to your introduction rather as a Toastmaster in next week's meeting, and I hope for that thing. Okay, so Disha, do we have the certificates ready with us? Okay, is Disha there? Disha? Yeah, okay. So can we start sharing the certificates in the row now? So guys, it's the most awaited section which is coming up, the certificate distribution section. So the polls are hidden for me because today it was the VPN who was doing the rounds. So I am also going to guess with you all. So let's see. Starting with, so any guesses for the best auxiliary role player? We had timer Toastmaster Tanvi. We had comedian
Yeah,
Yeah.
timer Tanvi was exceptional.
Okay. For Tanvi, we have one board. So Disha, can we share the screen and quickly wind up the meeting before we hit the clock 9? Okay, so let's see who is there. Toastmaster Tanvi. Congratulations, Tanvi. I think that timer's role is made tailor stitch for you because whenever you step in the shoes, you manage to take away the crown always. Congratulations and keep taking the role, but not timer next time. Let's see how you go with other roles as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great. Okay, so next, whom do we have in the league, Disha? Is it the table topic speaker?
Evaluator Manya.
Okay. So after listening to flamboyant evaluation section, whom do you think is the feedback given by the trainer and implemented it in the role? So whether it was Harshita or Toastmaster Simran. Any guesses? Toastmaster Harshita, Toastmaster
Toastmaster
Simran.
Harshita.
I think Toastmaster Harshita.
Okay. Let's see. So Disha, let's change the screen and quickly see who's there. Okay, we have table topic speaker reflecting first. No worries. So congratulations, Arun Jyoti, for acing the table topic speaker's role. Don't forget to share your email ID with in our chat box so that we can mail you your certificate.
Thank you so much. I voted for Arun Jyoti by the way.
Okay.
Thank
So
you,
you
sir.
may. Okay. Thank you, Arun Jyoti. Please do share your email ID so that we can post it in your mailbox.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, back to the evaluation section. So I think that we have guessed enough. So Disha, let's see who is there behind the curtain. It's Toastmaster Harshita. So champion of photography week, I would say, because she was the most enthusiastic of all and has won the evaluator's role today. So congratulations, Harshita, for both the things and some. All
Yeah,
right.
needless to say, I voted for Harshita as well.
I think that Harshita and Ashish are best partners offline. Or whether it was the photography week or whether it is this. Okay. All right. So next we have best speaker, I think, or best role player.
Best role player.
All right. So we had two debutants today, Toastmaster Karthik and Toastmaster Aditi. So mentor, mentee, both trying on the roles for the first time. And of course, me, the old person. I won't even consider my name. But let's see who wins the crown. Any guesses? I go for Aditi today. Any guesses?
One guess because I know.
Okay, Disha, let's see who is there behind the curtain. Okay, so people have managed to vote for an old person today. Thank you so much, guys. I hope that you like the photography tips. I'll definitely share more of them offline with you.
By the way, Manya is 20 years old. She's calling herself old person. She's barely 20, by the way.
I'm the oldest of the lot here, Ashish.
Old Toastmaster.
But she is wise beyond her years, no?
Okay, thanks for that heavy appreciation by Harshita. Let's see. Okay, so last and the least, but never the least, but we have the Best Speakers Award in the waiting. So both the speakers are absent from the room. So let's make sure that whosoever wins the title gets the energy of the ground. So any guesses, whether it was Geeta, Toastmaster Rajiv with his Geeta, or whether it was Toastmaster Adarsh with his lecture on capitalism? Any guesses? Capitalism versus Geeta. So there's no competition, but yeah. Any guesses? Maybe evaluators can take a guess with their size.
Toastmaster Rajiv.
Okay.
Because I personally love the topic.
My turn.
Okay. So this is bias is showing up. So let's see. Let's not get biased further. So Disha, can you please share the screen and show who is there? Okay, so it's Toastmaster Adarsh, the mentor as well as the mentee acing the quiz. So it's formidable size again. Yay. All right, so Disha, we can stop sharing the screen and it's time for the most energetic half of the meeting. So Karthik, Ishan, Disha, Ashish, Kshitij, Arun Jyoti, please come on camera for that one goodbye step we do each day. So Ashish, are you there with us? If we won't mind whether in whichever state you are, just a picture of yours would make a
Yeah,
content.
just give me like 1 minute. I'll try and turn on my camera.
All right. So, so Ashish, we will wait for you for 3 seconds because we have already crossed our time limit. So 3, 2, 1. If possible, do turn up in between and jump up or fly back home. All right. So 3, 2, 1. Everyone, turn off your audio, please. We want everyone to have this energy at the last moment. All right. So in TMSL, we don't want our champions
to walk
back home.
But we want
We
them
want them to
fly
fly
back
back home. Yay. So can we have a good round of applause for all of us who attended today's meeting? So I think this thunderous applause is for the photography week as well as for the evaluation session. And with this, I sign off from this week's meeting and wish you all a very happy and safe Raksha Bandhan festival, which is coming up this Sunday. And see you soon on next Thursday's meeting. And do keep in mind we have an evaluation contest coming up. So let's pull up our socks and start evaluating soon for the speeches and ensure that we ace the concept with ace color. Goodbye, have a good weekend, and have a good dinner ahead. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye. Good night.